Welcome to First and Goal, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Get ready for the latest and hottest topics in the SML. Let's get started. Here's your host, Mad Bomber.
All right, SML, welcome to First and Goal, the second episode of Madden 23. And this week we've got D-Muse, Dump. We've got QB and QP, so I'm sure that won't cause any confusion. And how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good.
All right,
Doing great.
So we'll jump right into it. We'll start with you, D-Muse. We've crossed over the midpoint of the season. I think a lot of teams have kind of settled into maybe where they are. Guys with fast starts kind of came back to earth, and guys maybe slow starting came back to where they should normally be. But with where everybody is right now, what team surprises you the most after the way we've started?
Saying the Jets with Bomber, I feel like year one roster means a lot. As the cycle goes on, teams kind of build up and become more evenly matched. The teams, guys develop their young guys. But year one, I mean, Bomber took on a rebuilding Jets squad. He's sitting at 8-3. The loss to Fig, I'm not even going to worry about it. I think everyone gets one of those. But you're off to a hot start. You're shooting for that 2 seed in the AFC, which I think is incredible with that Jets roster year one. So you're my pick for most biggest surprise so far in year one.
Okay. I like to hear that. Dump, what about you? Who's the biggest surprise?
I got two.
Okay.
I'm allowed to. All right. The first one, I'm going to go with the Vikings and get a start off 0-2, struggling, made some questionable trades. Didn't know which direction he's going to go, but he's won 8 of 9. All right. He's currently 8-3, and his stock is on the way up. Another guy, RD, 1-4 start. Texans is a rebuild. Not looking great, but he's also won 5 out of 6 and is ascending up. His offense, he's dotting it up with that young QB, doing pretty good on the ground, got a balanced attack. I'm going to go out on a limb. One of these guys, Kuda or RD, will beat Prime this season.
Ooh. They both still play Prime this year?
Yep, both got them on the schedule.
All right, so we'll have to, I'm sure that'll get clipped one way or another, so we'll find out. QB, what do you think?
So, I would have liked to go with Red or Gouda maybe, but I won't since Dump decided he needed to have 2 of them. I'm actually going to go with Finns. I think Finns was a near dominant level team at the beginning of the cycle. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, look at Finns. He's got these weapons. He's got these great guys outside on defense, able to do pretty much anything he wanted to do. I think the reason why he's had this dramatic fall has been due to EA changing how pass rush works. If you look at his cornerbacks, they are deadly. So if you're forced to throw the ball a lot earlier than you'd like to, those guys will feast. It's not been the case lately. It's going to be one of those things I think he needs to adjust on defense and adjust on offense. If you remember, he knew he was taking Dolphins the entire time.
Yeah.
So all of his early cycle, before the cycle started practice, was on the Dolphins. He got used to how this team played before any of the patches. He's going to have to adjust. He's going to have to forget what he knows, if you will. And I think he'll be able to right the ship. It's just going to be real rough waters for this short time.
Okay. QP, I know everybody's taking a bunch of different ones. Dump took 2. Who do you got for your biggest surprise?
Yeah. So in honor of Prime first, I'm wearing this V-neck. It's not as low as his that goes to about here, but it's going to be right here. My guy that I'm going with, then, of course, in Prime fashion, is going to be Matt. I respect Matt's record. I don't respect the user. Matt is 8-3, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Played me very close. He's lost to Dan as well. Dan has beat some guys pretty badly, but I'm gonna go with Matt here. He's been claiming he's not very good, but he's constantly showing he's one of the top 6 guys so far this cycle, I would say. So he's gonna be the one. And then Dump did take Gutta from me. I thought he would leave me my brother at least, but I'm going to go with Gutta as the second guy as well. I think that's a surpriser, a shocker. Everybody kind of puts him as a bottom tier guy typically, and he's 8-3. And if you look at his stats, actually outside of Kirk Cousins, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that in about 30 minutes. All right, so topic 2, we'll start with you, Dump. And Demis, you're part of topic 2, but it seems like you and Clink have been pegged as the next 2 to make the jump to being a Super Bowl team and winning some Barties. But if it's not Demis or Clink, who else do you see making their first time Super Bowl this year?
It's a very interesting topic, and I have a lot of respect for D Muse. He beat me earlier in the season, but as far as him getting pegged, I don't think he'd be getting pegged. Respectfully, don't think he's one of the two. I'm going to say that Clinky is the only option. All right, he's ascending. He's the top of the division, and that's another reason why I say D Muse. We got to get the top of our division before we worry about Super Bowls. So I'm going to say there's nobody else besides Clinky, and he is the only one. Outside of the Big Five, there's not a lot of options that haven't already made it. So I'm going with Clinky, sticking with Clinky, and that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right, QB, what do you think?
So I understand the question. You're going to have to forgive me as I go against it. I'm going to say there is no first-time Super Bowl appearance at all this cycle. I think Dom is a very good player. I think his strengths really played well last cycle when rolling out and buying that extra time was the profitable thing to do. He was an expert at it. He nailed it. He made Mac Jones look like a friggin' athlete. I think you need to adjust, though, Dom, this cycle. I think it may take you a little bit too long before that team starts to kind of deteriorate and runs into cap issues. Clink, this team is perfect for him on defense. I think he'll do really, really well, but he's going to have to go through either Dan and or Q every single playoffs. I don't think he's got what it takes to beat them, especially after TB12 is gone. We've seen what happens to people last cycle. Whenever you lose Tom Brady, you get used to it. You fall off. I don't think there's going to be a single first-time Super Bowl appearance this cycle.
Okay. QP, what do you think?
I'm going to take this off really quick because I'm going to address Dump with his fresh fade. Have you ever been to the Super Bowl before, Dump? You have? Damn, I was picking you. What the hell? Well, I don't have anybody then. I'm going to have to go with Clink. Let me put these back on. Clink is going to be the only choice, obviously, at this point. I was thinking about a lot of people. I didn't have, much options. I was going to go with Gutta, but the Vikings roster mixed with the way I know Gutta is sometimes at times when he gets into the bigger games against bigger opponents, I just can't go him. Clink does have the roster. He has the defense. Clink's one of the few guys that don't have to have a good offense to be good. He actually always pretty much – I've actually never seen Clink with a really good offense like himself statistically. So I would say that Clink is the only option at this point. Dom is as well if he does get a different quarterback than Jameis Winston. I think Jameis Winston is holding him back.
Yeah, I could see Jameis holding him back. All right, so Dom, who do you think? And I will point out that you did make a Super Bowl before, so you wouldn't be a first-time one either.
Thank you. That was exactly where I was going. Clear my name on this. I have been to a Super Bowl. It would not be the first appearance. Thank you, everyone. I liked getting roasted by the three of you. It was really fun there. Anyway, I don't know that there's a team outside of Clinky. I would have said Matt, but Matt has also been to a Super Bowl. Then you start getting into like the Guttas of the world. Gutta, I've been playing with you forever, man. I don't know. We're going to have to see you sustain the success with the Vikings. I feel like that's a tricky roster situation as the cycle goes on. So we'll see. I think Clinky's primed for it this cycle. He's got a good Bucs team, especially if he can take advantage of Brady for 1 or 2 years, depending on if he retires or not. But his defensive user has always been top tier, and now he has a top tier defense that he doesn't even have to touch. He just has to kind of find a quarterback after Brady, and this will be a sustained level of success. And if you make the playoffs enough, you get hot enough, it really just takes like one hot stretch. So I'm going to have to agree. I think it's Clinky, and then I don't know that there's a clear next guy, but hey, prove us wrong.
Okay. All right, so topic 3, we'll start with you, QB. This cycle from last cycle, what's the biggest difference between the two for you?
So the biggest difference for me is you have way less, what the hell, Madden? That's not what I wanted to happen. And that works for both offense and defense. We're actually able to direct where the ball is supposed to go. Theoretically, we've had kind of directional passing in the past, but it's not how that worked. Now it kind of shows us that indicator, which doesn't really matter, but it actually works. We can put the ball wherever we want around the wide receiver. Free form is a thing. Offense, we can actually put the ball where it's supposed to go. Defense, way less issues on the boundary where guys will just run away from wide open people and leave them the ball and, green grass around them, nothing but it. So I think that's something EA tried to do this cycle for gameplay. I think they nailed it definitely before they nerfed the pass rush. Way less, what the hell is going on? What are you doing, little, Madden people, which is always huge. It comes way more down to user input than it did last cycle.
Okay. QP?
I'm going to say the ability to extend plays is the big thing for me. Like QB was talking about earlier regarding Dom, where he would roll out and he would extend plays a little bit more with his feet, and then with his guys getting open a little bit towards the end of the play. I think that is not just him, of course. I'm just using that example. But I think that is gone as far as being able to sit in the pocket and wait for that deep 25-yard crossing route to open up and hit the other sideline, opposite side of where his route started. You have to hit a lot of plays more across the middle of the field, I think, now, and take what they give you. It's not all 40-yard passes and 17 yards per pass attempt. I would say that's the biggest thing in my opinion, as well as just it seems like offensive line matter a little bit more than in the past. We used to care about offensive line. We would roll out 72 overalls across the board and you're okay. You wouldn't. I mean, it was not much different than having a Cowboys style roster O-line back in 2018 when they were a little bit more healthy, but it wasn't much of a difference. So I'd say the O-line now matters a little bit more, especially if you're playing a good defensive line. So those two things really, in my opinion, have stood out.
All right. Dom, what do you think?
Yeah, I have two things, and they're both very near and dear to my heart because of my current situation, but I agree with QP2 on the rollouts. Like, I can't even get out of the pocket to throw the ball away a lot of the time. If I know nothing's there and I know I'm running out of time, it's hard to even get out of the pocket to be able to throw the ball away and not get the intentional grounding call. But I think man coverage is a big difference. I've always liked to think that man worked, but it never did. I think it's a lot better this cycle. You can actually run it. Dan just destroyed me in a whole game just running man. I couldn't get separation anywhere. So I think man coverage is one of the biggest differentiators. And I think the importance of quarterback. You're seeing a lot of teams, like the Packers, the Chargers, they're at the top of the standings. I'm not going to mention the Chiefs, but they're at the top of the standings. And big reason why is the quarterback. You see a lot of guys struggling with their lower tier quarterbacks. They'll make worse throws. The under pressure throws are just not there. And they'll just miss open targets sometimes. And I don't feel like that happened in previous games. Maybe here or there, but it wasn't as noticeable as it is this year.
Yeah, definitely more noticeable. Dump, what about you? Biggest difference?
Well, both of mine are taken, but I'm going to take them anyway. Low-hanging fruit, obviously importance of quarterbacks. Like D-Muse mentioned, if you have a good quarterback, you get to set feet elite, lead elite, you're set. In the past, I was a guy that thought I could win with any quarterback. I know that's probably a lot of people. Dan getting rid of good quarterbacks. I don't think you're going to see that this year. People are going to hold on to those good quarterbacks, develop people, because it's honestly a crapshoot without a good quarterback. So I think that's really important. And then I'll just add overall roster. In the past, I think you see guys winning with bad teams. And really the only person doing that right now is you, Bomber. So, different game this year. I think ratings and quarterbacks matter a little bit more.
Okay. All right, so last topic. We'll start with you, QP. Prime made 2 Super Bowls last cycle. That was it, and only won one of them. Does he beat those numbers this year, and what's your prediction for his final total this year?
I say he does beat the number for both. I think that he goes to 3 total only. Only 3. I think he goes to the first one, probably the second one, and then I think that we see a gap where we see Faz, you, possibly QB, somebody in between that area of time from season 3 to season 6. And then I think he makes one last Simbardi or Super Bowl from there. How many he wins? I think he wins 2. I think he takes 2 out of the 3 appearances that he goes.
Okay.
I think he takes the first one probably despite or regardless of who he plays, whether it's me, Dan, Meats, Clink, whoever it is. I think that he is a little bit above all of us right now. In season 2, I think he loses to whoever he sees, and then I think he wins his last one.
Okay. Dom, what do you think?
Yeah, QP stole my notes here. I had 3 appearances, 2 wins as well. I think he definitely beats last cycle. He's off to such a hot start. An interesting little nugget here. When we were calling that last Super Bowl for the last cycle, he had told me, he said, I'm going to play this game more than I did this game and the previous game so I can come out hotter. And I think it's clear that he did that. He was serious about that. He wanted to get off to faster starts. I feel like the last couple cycles, the way he began with the Colts kind of disappointed him. And here he is undefeated, looking like the best team in the league by far. I think he wins this year. And then I think some guys start to catch up as the cycle goes on. But even at his lowest, he's due to get to at least 2 more after that. So, yeah, I agree with QP. I think he beats both, and my prediction is 3 appearances, 2 wins.
All right. Dump, what do you think?
I think the GOAT is back. I think he's found his special stuff. All right? He's using a little dick nose for motivation. All right? I think he only gets better as we go. Right now, he's undefeated. No one's even coming close. He's going to get a better quarterback. He's probably going to rob someone in a trade, end up with a Justin Fields or a young quarterback he's going to develop. He's going to stack that defense like he normally does. I'm going to say he makes 5 Super Bowls, and he's going to win 3. The GOAT is back.
5, okay. And QB, what do you think?
So I've got Prime going 3 for 3 on Super Bowls. I think he'll win 1 early in the cycle, win 2 more toward the middle of the cycle. I've got Prime going to 3. I've got Faz going to 2. I'll go to 2. Bomber goes to 1. And I think either Dan or QP takes every single NFC berth. And I think he'll be a little disappointed going 3 for 3. But at the same time, I think he'll show out all cycle. AFC Championship games definitely more often than not, especially if he continues to command that first seed.
All right. So with that, the final score looks like for the first time this cycle, QP wins. QP, you're the winner. These 30 seconds are all yours.
Man, I have never won first and goal. I've never expected to win, so I don't have my 30-second thing to do. What I will say is I hope for a good game between Bomber and Gutta tonight. I think Gutta needs to start getting a little bit more attention. I'm the big bro, giving the little bro a little bit of his spotlight. I'll hand it to him. Give him a little bit of his love, and hopefully he puts on a good performance against one of the better guys tonight, and we get a good game.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Should be starting here in about 30 minutes. So thanks for being on, guys. Enjoyed your takes other than Prime winning multiple Simbardis. But we'll see how it goes. Thanks for being on. Till next week, this has been First and Goal.
Thanks for listening to First and Goal. Be sure to check out Mad Bomber TV on Twitch and YouTube for the latest from the SML. And we'll see you next time on First and Goal.